Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming to my talk. I will be talking about stuff which I think is relevant, and I think we'll be seeing it more and more in the future because it's kind of important. And yeah, I'm also a big fan of Terraform, as some of you may know. I've been doing Terraform since 2015. And yeah, developed a few projects. Some of these projects you may have seen, because if you use AWS, you should have used these projects. If you are using other cloud provider, you may have been inspired by some of these projects. At least that was the initial idea when I developed it. I want to share something good, and I hope that people learn from it and apply it and actually become productive. So if you are learning Terraform best practice is there. It's translated into German as well. So hopefully you can read it and maybe argue and disagree. That's great. Yeah, raise your hand if you use any of these things, like Terraform AWS modules, right? I see a few people who didn't use it. Okay, you raised 2 hands, so you're good. Some people didn't raise their hands. That's bad, because they should probably have watched some videos on YouTube, which I record pretty frequently. Usually it's every Friday, but sometimes I'm lazy or I have other things to do, so I don't record it. But overall, there were 119 episodes where I talked to different developers. I review different tools, which I think are relevant for people who use Terraform, and so on. Also, every Wednesday I publish Terraform weekly newsletter because there are a lot of content out there which I believe is beneficial for people to read and learn again, because it's pretty cool. And yeah, overall, there is a collection of more than 50 open source Terraform modules with a pretty large amount of downloads. Approximately, it's 500,000 of downloads per day. A lot of people use those modules to spin up services on AWS. We cover most of services which you probably should use. And yeah, there is very big community. So this is Terraform AWS modules, as well as serverless TF, which is another project which I started because eventually I realized that doing serverless on AWS with Terraform was pretty hard. So take a look into serverless TF if you want to simplify your process around organizing and operationalizing Lambdas, API gateway, and so on. And also, if you use any of these projects, don't hesitate to become sponsors, because that's pretty much the way how I live. I don't have time for a full-time job, because open source take approximately 99% of my time. And yeah, thanks a lot to people who support me, and that's why I'm here. So, enough about myself. I want to share something cool, what I think will be applicable to everyone. So, compliance, I will mention what is it. I will explain how typical compliance process work. And then I will demonstrate, because we are not here to just me listen, and I know that it will not impress anyone. But I will show some code. I will try to explain it in action, and hopefully you can get something from it, and you will be interested in learning more. So what is compliance in a very simple way? It is a way for you as a business entity to prove to clients that they can trust you with their data. That's pretty much it. There is no other crazy definition which I want you to know. Just think about this. This is something to build trust for your company. And also, compliance is a shared responsibility model. As you have seen this image probably at least once during today, AWS or any cloud provider is providing some like bottom level responsibility because they take care of hardware, of some managed services which they provide to you, and we as customers are responsible for whatever we put on top of it. It's really important to understand that even if you use cloud provider A or B, you will not be automatically compliant out of the box. Though AWS has a lot of confirmation and a lot of reports which will simplify your process if you need to go through it. So what is compliance framework? Essentially, it is a set of structured guidelines established by some regulating industry where they explain like how you should operate as an organization. And the main focus of compliance framework is to help you to understand and eliminate risk. That's it. And actually, compliance framework by itself is not just a document which explains how certain things can be done or should be done. It's actually involving hands-on implementation of these security controls with a goal to meet requirements which were established and which were demanded. Compliance framework can be very different, but I believe that most of them are about very similar topic. They are not against you. They are supposed to help you so that you understand what are the risks, how to become efficient in your daily activities, what kind of data you should protect, how you should do this, and so on. If you think about compliance framework, you may think that there are a lot of them, and you're right. You have heard about CIS, which is short for Center of Internet Security. They provide a lot of, I would say, sane default controls to follow. There are zero downsides, I would say, to not follow this set at least, because if you want to be secure, this is just prescriptive list of things which you can go through and you will be already closer to desired state. Also, you may have heard about SOC 2, which is essential standard for different service providers who are interacting with customer data. And since we're in Europe, GDPR is the way to handle or to control how personal data of individuals will be treated in your organization. So if I give you my email, what will you do with it? A lot of people I know in Germany obsessed with privacy, right? So I'm not in Germany, I live in Norway. But we also, a few years ago, received email like 25th of May or April, like hundreds of emails everybody received, like, oh, from now on you are GDPR compliant. What? Like, nobody was expert until that day when it became real, but you guys knew this since you were born, I guess. Okay, and PCI DSS is another set of standards when it comes to securing environment which is handling credit card information. It's very well established standard, and it's required to follow if you are accepting credit card information and you are actually doing something with it. So how typical compliance process work? Once you understand that AWS will do some of their job, you get the report, you can see that, okay, thank you very much for providing this awesome service, and thank you for confirming that you are compliant. So that's like good starting point that I didn't have to deal with hardware, for example. Great, thank you very much. Then you need to understand what kind of framework you're going to pursue, and you read different standard controls and just understand what should be the scope for it. There are multiple tools which can be used to help you with assessment of your compliance posture. Some of these tools are built into cloud provider like AWS Security Hub. Very easy. You go on console, you do a couple clicks, and in few moments you will see the score, how well your infrastructure matches to certain compliance framework, it's usually between 0 and 10% when you start, maybe 20% when you start, and then you go and fix some issues and do something about it. But it's really important to understand your initial state and what you have to do. So Security Hub is one tool, then there is Prowler and SteamPipe, which I think are very useful, and you can run them from command line, you can run them in your CI/CD process in many different ways. I like Prowler and SteamPipe specifically because they have so-called compliance pack or conformance packs, where you can tell that you don't care about individual controls. You want to assess against the whole compliance set of controls, which is usually, let's say, from 50 to a couple hundred. So it can be quite a lot, especially if infrastructure is big. Then you implement these controls using Terraform, of course. Who doesn't use Terraform here? Raise your hand if you don't use Terraform. Good. Good, very good. Everybody can stay in this room. No need to leave. Right, so then you implement these required controls in Terraform. You fix something in your modules, in your TF-vars file, and so on. And you hope that it will never happen, that now it's stable and nothing will be kind of drifted. So that's great. Obviously, it will never stay in the same place. So you eventually will have to implement some sort of automate compliance process. It can be auto-remediation to put something back to the previous known state, or it can be something what you want to just receive message when something drifted, and then you apply your manual action. Once this is done, then you go and ask human and say like, hey, this is my bunch of PDF files. How do you like them? It's called audit, talking to people. So how to implement required controls? Well, there are many different tools which you can use. One is, one of my favorite at least, Checkov, Trivi, Kix, Terrascan. I find the Checkov is the most useful because it has largest amount of checks, and it has much more, how to say, much more powerful way of understanding Terraform code. If you are interested in differences between these tools, you can run them individually on your code, and you should see whether these tools understand the way you write code. Many of these tools will not be able to understand Terraform code if you write it using different HCL2 constructs. For example, if you use values which you source from data source or from other resources, many of these tools will become very useless, and they will produce a lot of false positives, and you will simply just disable it because, well, it doesn't give a lot of value. So that's why Checkov or TFSec, they are pretty powerful, and they provide this this way of deep understanding of HCL code. So once you run this tool and it tells you what is bad, then you try to figure out which Terraform code you have to fix. You try to figure out what code in your code base you need to fix, how you have to fix it, and eventually fix it. Because many of these tools will explain you like what you should be doing. Like if it complains about problem A, there is remediation step, which is like typical playbook. You go and read and you study. And eventually the point is that you will become expert in something what you didn't want to be. Sounds familiar, right? That's how we ended up here. Who was born and decided, oh, I'm going to be DevOps engineer? Okay, only one person. Most of us wanted to fly to space, I believe. Okay, so once you apply remediation steps, you will become experts. The purpose of this talk is that I believe that you should not be expert of something until you really, really want it. That's why I'm working on a project which is called Compliance TF, where I take all of these compliance-related security features and embed it into Terraform AWS modules, which many of you use. So there will be a collection of Terraform AWS modules automatically fixed with compliance-related configurations. And to prove this one, we can use, again, once we use this code, we can run AWS config, for example, and ask it whether certain misconfiguration is now compliant or not. AWS config is a great service where you can have a lot of different checks managed by AWS. So you just enable them and say that I want to have certain resources to be compliant. So please check this. Like in this screenshot, I enable that there is a requirement that my CloudFront distribution is not using old Cypher protocols. And if I suddenly make CloudFront distribution with bad configuration, it will become non-compliant and my score will be lower. So this is one of checks. I know that some of you like demo, so let's do it. I also like demo more than token. Okay, so here we are. I can make it bigger. So if I run Terraform init, I just download something. Let me show the code first, just so that everybody understands what I'm talking about. So this folder, compliance TF, has one file, pretty much, main TF. Inside of this file, I invoke different Terraform modules. This is very simplified, but very similar to what most of us have, right? We go to Terraform registry, we find module which we like, and then we spend most of the time thinking about what kind of parameters we need to specify it, how we can connect it to other resources, and so on. So we think about this part, right? We think about which module, we think about, okay, I need a S3 bucket, and I need to make a certificate for that one. And that's pretty much how typical code looks like. No rocket science so far, I hope. So then, when you, let's run checkoff. And now if I run checkoff, checkoff will evaluate this code, and it will tell me how good am I with different checks. And it will tell that everything passed except one verified CloudFront distribution. Yeah, okay, that's pretty bad. It's kind of important, so I need to fix it. So how I would fix it? Well, normal flow is that I go on Google and I search this error message, or I go to official documentation of Prisma Cloud, the company behind Chekhov, and read about it. Now my VS Code is excellent. Let's keep waiting. We have nothing else to do. So then I can read here and I can realize that, oh, I need to provide minimum protocol version to be this one. Okay, sounds good. So I edit this one, I save it. Now I run Chekhov, and Chekhov will understand that, okay, now the value which I provide is actually okay, right? The thing is that for me as developer, I need to do quite a lot of things. I need to understand the issue itself. I need to look for it. There is no ready-made solution which can tell me, like, edit line 14, this value should be placed there. It will be written in plain English language, so I need to do a lot of understanding here. Okay, so I fixed this one problem. Now I can run Terraform apply, and it will create it. Let me run it, and then I will explain while it's working. So I say that, okay, this code looks good. I want to create these 8 resources, which is CloudFront distribution and S3 bucket, and a couple other supplementary resources. So it's happening. Now let me explain the way how I think this can be improved. So first of all, instead of picking up from public registry, we can get it from registry.compliance.tf while keeping the same reference, Terraform AWS modules, CloudFront AWS, and the same version. So modules which will be published in registry compliance TF are automatically compliant or not compliant based on official public modules. They don't provide anything new, they actually provide less functionality. Because in those modules, properties which can be misconfigured are not available for people to customize. So everything related to encryption or everything else what compliance framework required me to do is simply not available there. So now it's done. And if I go to config, if I refresh these rules now, I should see. For some reason I don't see it. I don't know why I don't see it. I have no clue why I don't see it. Same region. Interesting. I'm supposed to see my resource here. Maybe I'm in the wrong account. Let's see. So here, config, rules. Should be in Virginia, because this rule is about CloudFront, and CloudFront is only available there. Okay, yeah, it was some delay, but it is here. So the code which I executed actually created compliant resource. But as I showed, I used a public module, and now Terraform has been executed, and that's it. The way to not do this using public modules is to source it from Terraform, from registry compliance TF. So I run Terraform init. Then I download this module from, as you can see, it's downloading from registry compliance TF from this location. And yeah, and that's it. But instead of parameterizing this value, I should not worry about this one. Because if I run checkoff now, even without parameterizing this minimum protocol version, checkoff will tell that everything is fine. Because inside of this module in registry compliance TF, this parameter is not even present. You cannot specify minimum protocol version because it's not there. But it's backward compatible with official modules. So now if I run Terraform apply, actually nothing will happen because it's the same module, just with hard-coded values inside. And if I go here, again, this resource was compliant and it will be compliant. Yeah, I think that's it. I have still 5 minutes. And these 5 minutes, yeah, this is compliance TF, which was rescheduled to Q3 2024. It may be rescheduled later, if I feel so. But the point is that I don't want to think everybody that making your Terraform infrastructure as code should be complicated. You've been doing this good, you know your cloud provider, you know how to use Terraform AWS modules. Now you should be just using them from another source. That's it. All security related issues, or not all, maybe most of those issues will be taken care for you from there. And that's it. And thank you very much for listening. And questions. I know some of you may have questions. Yeah.
All right, you mentioned this shared responsibility model. now I include you into this, and I need to trust you that it's actually compliant.
Yeah.
How do you do, I mean, in this GDPR, it doesn't say, oh, in your S3 bucket, you need to enable this. How do you do all this hard work of mapping these and translating the actual rules to the settings?
Using AI.
Oh,
no, I'm joking.
Answer.
No, I mean, using just brain and reading and mapping. It's kind of slow process, but the point is that we don't have to do it every one like separately. If it says that S3 bucket shouldn't be publicly available, it's enough to implement it once inside of module, implement it there. You probably are more interested in what kind of confirmation I can give you that my stuff...
Are you certified?
Yeah.
Yes.
So having this output, there is also a conformance pack which I can enable. And if I enable conformance pack somewhere here, and that's what I can explain as well, and tell that somewhere here, operational best practices for networking and content delivery services. If you spin up, or that's what I'm doing, when I spin up infrastructure during test in my account, I run this conformance pack, and conformance pack becomes green. For me, that's good enough. So then I can make some sort of markdown and give it to you, and you look at it, and you know what to expect.
You outsource it to AWS then, that's trust.
Sorry?
You outsource it to AWS to certify or to tell, okay, yes, it's compliant.
Yeah, I think that's the whole point of what we do. Like, we cannot, I fix it and I verified it, and I'm the only person who do two things, right? Yes, I can fix, but somebody else has to verify it. And I'm really glad that AWS has this kind of service where they can run it in your account. You may use it in your pipeline just to validate that this stuff was actually the way you expect. And you can always run the same tools like checkoff and other tools in your pipeline. And you can even say that you can get Terraform modules from this compliance registry, and you can run checkoff, and if checkoff will become with some errors, if it will find something bad, then it's bad, and then you can decide whether you want to use it or not. There are some issues and some things which I cannot fix automatically because they require some extra input from your side. So this kind of security controls will have to be kind of postponed. I cannot fix them hard-coded in the values, but I will do as much as possible and tell you that I fixed 80% of things. This 20% is, unfortunately, it's your responsibility. Here I suggest how you can fix it. Yeah.
I would actually have another question, but maybe another one first.
Another one?
Hi, Anton. Thank you for your talk. I have a quick question about the part where, as a customer, I will have to switch between registries. And let's say if I am already compliant and I have all these things hard-coded in my code, will that break the new modules as well? In your demo, you showed the part of the code when it was commented out later on line 14. If I have this enabled, will that override the new practices?
This minimum protocol version, if we look into the source code, somewhere here, CloudFront, I think it's in variables, maybe not. Yeah, no, this is not here, it's somewhere here. Yeah, it is simply hard-coded, so it doesn't even take into account what you demand. In these modules, this value is just hard-coded forever, so you can write whatever you want here, even something very wrong, it will not be even taken into account. That's kind of the way how Terraform AWS modules work. They allow parameterization of everything, but it doesn't mean that we actually even verify the data. It's up to the user to verify it. And this is implemented on purpose so that people have a way they don't have to change anything except line 5 or 6, where they change from which registry they want to source it. Even more, it is also possible to have exactly the same line, but to instruct Terraform by setting environment variable that all modules should be sourced not from official public Terraform registry, but from registry.compliance.tf. This is a little bit kind of restricted because you need to make sure that this module, that all modules listed here are actually present in registry compliance TF. Currently, CloudFront is present, but ACM is not present there. So you cannot change it completely. But during the release, the goal is to have all Terraform AWS modules to be automatically fixed and automatically available on the same mirror, which is called registry compliance TF.
Thank you.
Yeah.